Recording is on.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Get ready to rumble! Pump up the shit, yo, pump it up, yo, pump it
in. Damn, boys, we're here.
We are here.
Welcome to Championship Week. If you haven't noticed by now, we have a special guest here, Mr. Dan Laska. Thanks for joining. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, boys. How are you guys?
Good. You guys are probably doing better than I am because you're the stars of the show today. You've survived the vitriol of a fantasy football season, and here you are, facing off. Are you nervous, excited, distraught? Have you been tinkering already? It's Wednesday. I mean, what's going through your head?
I'm gonna cut in here. I've been doing a little bit of tinkering, but I wanted to get this, talked about right at the beginning here. Lostness, he threw something into our chat the other day, and so I reached out and I did a couple of things. I've actually got a sponsor for my fantasy football team.
Here we go.
So Bauer, I'm sorry, bud.
That's all right.
Good luck.
You can have all the tins you want. Me and the rest of the boys will be playing 18 and 18.
So it's all come down to this. So we're gonna do a couple things here, but let's just start by just taking a quick look at how did we get here from the playoff standpoint. So started off, we had Leon sneaking in to the playoffs, getting on that hot streak, right? And all of a sudden, the Empire pot is at risk once again. And he frickin' won his game. Mortel, unfortunately, had a poor performance, 69.96 points, not his best. So Leon advances. And then, we talked about it, Bauer, in our preview with Cool Runnings, that Hanrahan squad was just going to be down some dudes, and they just didn't have the firepower to keep up with Jenny to get out of the first round.
Yeah, I mean, obviously unfortunate. Josh Jacobs and Ramondre were both out, and he didn't plan ahead on that one because I think there were some running backs he could have picked up for that week. Obviously, I think that was like a Thursday night game. So
it was
Chargers, which, Mortel played the Chargers defense, so that just immediately set off some bad vibes. And then I think, was that the game that JJ got hurt in?
No, JJ played a full game. He was hurt the week before.
He was hurt in the Raiders game. Okay.
Yeah.
But, or that was like Tyreek didn't play or something, or got hurt partway through, or it was, I remember he had.
Well, you're talking about the Mortel matchup? Yeah. Tyreek didn't play.
Losing Tyreek Hill is obviously huge. So that was just bad vibes. And yeah, Hanrahan, he kind of ran into some bad injury luck, and unfortunately for him, he didn't plan ahead far enough in advance, so he was forced to play Amir Abdullah, who got him 5.5 points, which is about as much as you could have expected from him. But Gabe the Babe with a big
dude, another zero.
19.5, 0, 0, 21. Like, dude is just goose egg or freaking just slaughtered him.
Picked the wrong week.
That has to be like the worst player to have on your team.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those guys where I feel like if you're down and you need a home run play, like, all right, like, just throw up a wild card and see if he does it. He'd be the type of guy. But when you're looking for consistent production, definitely someone you don't want. But yeah. Did you guys
see the stat that I think ESPN flashed it? Like 39 or 38% of teams with McCaffrey made the playoffs. And unfortunately, Hanrahan was not one of them.
Well, made the playoffs. You said made the semis?
Sorry, made the championship game. Sorry.
Oh.
Made the championship game.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, look at that. He lost. Freaking McCaffrey put up like 39 points.
Yeah, he had a monster game, but he had nothing else really going on for him. So Leon survives. 4 spot and Jenny with the 7 seed. Obviously, he had been scoring a shit ton of points and just had some bad luck with losing some games. But we'll talk about that one in a second. But the first matchup with Leon Laska, coming into this, were you nervous at all, or did you feel like you had a pretty good advantage here?
No, this is actually the third time that I played Leon this year. We squared off in week 1, and it was a really close matchup. And then Dallas D went bonkers and kind of put him away. It was actually the week that I got to hang out with Leon out in Cali, so it was kind of fun.
Oh, excellent.
Talk about that a little bit. But no, dude, Leon's got a stud squad, and I don't know if you guys saw the play of Tony Pollard where he was literally like he runs to the pylon and he's in, and for whatever reason he tries to like cut it up. This is like a 2-yard run to the end zone, and the DB like makes a play on the ball and like pulls him back, and I'm like, did he really save a touchdown? It's nuts. And so like when that happened, I was like, all right, this is good on me. But no, I texted Baumkow like after probably like the first like few games, and I was like, dude, it's a coin flip, 50-50, man. Like this could have gone either way.
Yeah, you pulled it off. CD Lamb had another good week. Ridley, a little bit inconsistent for you, but he put up some good numbers when it counted. He's got Carolina coming up. We'll talk about the matchups here in a little bit. Saquon kind of did his thing, and you had I don't. Did it come down to a Monday or a Sunday night game, or did you pretty much have it in hand? I don't remember.
It was pretty much done after Sunday because like going into Monday, I still had Lamar. I think I had Lamar and somebody else. I had Lamar and Barkley, and then Leon had like Swift. And so it's basically like, okay, as long as Swift doesn't outscore those two guys, I should be okay. But Ridley is hilarious. I don't know if you guys probably nobody saw this because like I could barely watch any football over the weekend, but I heard this stat.
Right.
Calvin Ridley had negative points going into halftime.
Yeah,
and then he went for like 20 something. Like,
Yeah.
dude, that's ridiculous. If I was actually watching that dude, I'd be on full tilt. I'd be like, this is terrible.
Man, yeah. Let's see, Leon. You didn't really leave much on the bench there, so he threw it out there, had a crack at it, made the playoffs, won a game. Good season, Leon. You were counted basically out at one point. I think we had him at number 10 in the power rankings at one point in the season, Bow, and he made that charge. So
yeah, it was literally from that point on. He just because I remember I had texted Leon and he was willing to like move some guys, like just start selling. And I was like, yeah, I'll just wait a little bit. And I think he was too. And then all of a sudden, from then on, his team just started gathering steam, and he beat like every good team on his way into the playoffs. And he didn't really sneak in because he ended up being the 4 seed.
right.
There would be a scenario where if he would have lost and Lostness would have scored a ton of points, he had a chance of missing out. But yeah, good season by Leon, good effort. Made it to the semis. Anytime you're the defending champ, people aren't really wanting to trade with you. If they are, they're gonna rob you blind. And
Yep.
he just kind of stuck with his team and had a good run and just ran into a buzzsaw.
Yeah, so him and Jenny will have a chance to play for third place this week here. But you and Jenny, man, this was a roller coaster, back and forth. It looked like you were down and out for a while, and then things just kind of came together. Talk us through this thing.
Yeah, well, first, before I even got to Jenny, I wanted Hanrahan to win because I liked that he had the 49ers going against the Ravens, and I just thought matchup-wise, that was like I knew McCaffrey still had a good game, but I just felt like that was a good enough defense to like keep them in check somewhat. And then Jenny won, so I was a little nervous because Jenny's team, like early in the season, was just going off, and then all of a sudden, he had a big week in the first round of the playoffs, and then we get to Thursday night, and he has he had Stafford, go for 20 right off the bat, which is
Yep.
not like spectacular, but I was hoping for a little less. And then Saturday happened. I don't think we had too many on Saturday. But then Sunday happened. So basically what happened was we got through like the Sunday noon games, and I still had Jalen Hurts to go on Monday and Rashee Rice, and I actually had David Montgomery in the spot where Devonta Smith was. But Jenny he had that huge Breece Hall game.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry had a big game.
20 points there. Yeah, Brees with 37. I mean, that's a monster.
He still had Mostert in the afternoon. He had A.J. Brown, Devonta Adams, Travis Kelce, and the Chiefs defense going on Monday. And he had Cortland Sutton going Sunday night. I was projected to just get smoked. I was having a decent week. All my guys are kind of just solid up through the noon games, but I didn't have any Chuba, Montgomery, Taylor, all double digits. So which was fine. I'm not going to be mad about that. The Jets defense was doing great for a bit, and they kind of gave up a bunch of points, which hurt them. But so I made the decision because I thought I was going to need a home run play. I benched James Conner, and
I was going to ask about that. What went into that? Because that's that you have been kicking yourself if you would have lost by 4 points and didn't start Conner. Oh man.
Well, you called it out too, Marty. You said, "Hey, I might be making a BTB."
I texted the group. I might be giving myself a BTB, but I got to go for the higher ceiling play because I just thought Devonta Smith, has the opportunity. I felt to have a 100 yards and 2 touchdown type of game, where James Conner going against a decent Bears defense, and he hadn't really been involved in the passing game. I was like, he's probably good for double digits, but I don't think he has that high ceiling. Well, then of course they decide to throw him the ball, and he has 6 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown, and I'm just sitting there sick to my stomach, oh my god.
Oh no!
But at the same time, I also didn't think Mike Evans got me back into the matchup with a big game. But I
24 points, yeah.
But I still Trey McBride kind of let me down there. So I was sitting there and I had Hurts going and I had Devonta Smith and I was like, all right.
But Devonta Smith, that's so nervous because he can totally disappear sometimes. And
yep.
So
it was like I said, I went for the higher ceiling play, which I still think my logic was fine. But here's what happened. So we go into Sunday night. He has Cortland Sutton going. He gets knocked out of the game immediately. So he gets a goose egg. Then we go to that Chiefs game, and the Raiders defense just dominated them. Kelce didn't do shit. The Chiefs defense didn't really do much against the Raiders offense, even though the Raiders didn't complete a pass for 3 quarters.
3 quarters?
3 quarters, 0 yards.
And then Devonta Adams
for 60 yards.
And then Devonta Adams went all first 3 years in the league and developed brick hands and couldn't catch. And so he finished with 0.9. So those 3 combined went for 13 points. And all of a sudden I look at them. I told Jenny before that, it's if I can be within 30 going into the Eagles game, I'll have a chance. I think it was 20. And then I got that Devonta Smith touchdown, and I'm just going nuts.
Yeah.
I'm you got a 1. I'm up 11. I have Hurts. He's got A.J. Brown. It's going to be pretty tough to catch me. Well, then the Eagles had this one drive where Brown was literally catching every ball, and I just looked at the numbers, and I was like, wait a second. This is getting really close. And Brown got tackled at the 3-yard line. And had he gotten that touchdown, I think we would have been within a point of each other.
Oof.
And he got tackled, and then DeAndre Swift got his touchdown. And then the Eagles were driving again, and on their 3rd and long play, I was just don't throw it to A.J. Brown. And they throw it to Devonta Smith, and that gave me the 7-point lead I needed to ensure that because and then it was nutty. I thought I was definitely losing, and then the breaks broke my way. I feel bad for Jenny because he had a really good week, and then a bunch of dependable guys all just folded, and I kind of snuck out a win, and I'm making my first ever championship appearance, so I was pumped.
Now, is there something to be said about Broik writing you up as the luckiest team in the league? I feel like I'm a little bit nervous now going up against the luckiest team.
Well, he called me lucky because I had the least amount of points scored, but I was up until the last week, I was the 3rd highest scoring team. So when I had bad weeks, I got lucky because I picked up wins against guys who have bad weeks. Our first matchup, but you only scored 78 points. I had 90 some. Definitely luck. And I don't think I even before the playoffs, I think I said my team, you could make the argument, is probably the worst of the 6. Because I don't think I have the superstar firepower besides Hurts. I just kind of have a bunch of solid players that kind of just, they just give you about 10 points a week and basically make the other team have to outscore you.
you got Mike Evans, wide receiver 3, who's been
he's
obviously a engine to your machine, and McBride is, he didn't have a great game this week, but it's been a solid tight end for. But yeah,
it's like
you could argue there's other teams like. Yeah, I think on paper, you look at Jenny's team with the way Mostert can have these big games, and Adams and Brown and Kelsey and Brees Hall, you're like, oh boy, this is daunting. But you freaking did it, man.
my team's just kind of solid. Like they're kind of solid throughout. Like Evans has been awesome, but it's just been
Rice coming on has definitely helped you kind of fill that wide receiver void.
Yeah, he's been great. But
that's been fun. Anyways, we will probably talk more about your dudes here as we break down the matchup. But solid win, Jenny. You looked unbeatable for a while during the season. Tough to go out. You're still playing for third as well, but hell of a run, man. Hell of a run. The record of 7-7 doesn't justify how good your team was for most of the year.
Oh yeah, I mean, he was clear cut, probably the second best team in the league. He was the unluckiest because every time he'd score 115 points and just play a guy who scored 130 every week. It seemed like so.
Yeah, he was up against it. So you guys played in week 5, it looks like, and Alaska. Did you just give Bauer a free win there? You scored 78 points.
Apparently the boys were just taking a night off. I'm not really sure.
Does this show us what happened in week 5? Yeah, it brings us right to it. So you had Lamar with a 9-point game, -1 by the Cowboys defense. You played that bum Romeo Dubs, 0.9. Matt Breida.
No. Dobbs. Oh yeah, he didn't do anything against.
Anyways, so one matchup early on, but things are different now. So before we break down this matchup here, Alaska, I got a question for you. Did you buy that cutoff hoodie before or after you thought that your team had a chance to win the championship?
I bought this cutoff hoodie out of like a pure joke. This
can you give us a side angle?
You guys want like a stand up?
There you go. Like,
look at this thing.
So you obviously you can't. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say no. There are literally guys at my gym that like wear these things to the gym, and I tell Nelly about it all the time how stupid they look. I'm like, these things are so dumb. Why would you wear a cutoff hoodie? And then like obviously I'm a big fan of McAfee, and like McAfee wears his tank tops and all that shit. And so this company, Noble, was running a 50% off sale, and I'm like, I get one of these things for $23. I'm like, I'm gonna buy one. It is so comfortable. It's amazing.
Okay, I was sharing the screen, so your profile didn't show up good, but now, yeah, there we go. That's giving everyone a good view.
Material they use, dude, like this is like nice little pouch for you here.
So if you win, you're buying everyone in the league one.
Show off your guns, like I don't know, man. But no, I wore it as a joke for you guys. So I hope you guys appreciate it. But it is comfortable as fuck, and I wear it all the time.
Yeah, so you obviously had a good draft, and you were one of the preseason favorites. You lived at the top of the power rankings every year. What was your process getting to this spot today? To knowing you had a good team, and all you could do was screw it up. How did you not screw it up?
Well, bring up my roster, and I can tell you a little bit better. So I'm not trying to.
Yeah.
So I do feel like my draft really kind of like solidified it. And I know I've told like a few of you guys, this is kind of silly, but like apparently if you drink red wine when you're drafting a fantasy football team after day drinking with family all day and then like maybe smoking a bowl like beforehand and just being twisted as fuck, like you just draft a really good fantasy team. But look at this. So like I knew I wanted. Here's the guys that I wanted on my squad. I wanted Lamar. I wanted Gibbs. I wanted, obviously, CD. And, well, I guess my other keeper's not there. But I wanted Barkley. So, like, those are the guys that I wanted. And I got all those guys. But the funny thing was, and Broik, I apologize, brother. I did not want Keenan Allen on my team. I was like, that guy is old. Like, why would I want that guy? He was high up in my rankings, and I took Ridley before him. And clearly, I mean, up until now, because he's out, he had been a better player than Ridley. And like, I mean, dude, there was games that he was scoring like what, like 30 points. Like, dude, he was nuts.
So you took Saquon, and then Gibbs, and then Ridley,
Yeah.
Lamar in the third, and then Allen fell to you later with your next third round pick. Okay. And
So
then
that's
CD was a
like,
keeper.
It's like between Allen and Ridley, I had Allen ranked higher, but in my head I was like, I liked Ridley's upside, so I was like, I'm gonna grab Ridley. And then when Allen was there, I'm like, this is silly. I can't believe he's still there. I grabbed him, even though I really didn't want old man Allen on my team. But he's been great.
Yeah. Yeah, until he was out. But yeah, you've got this far. But so yeah, you were pretty confident. I mean, after a few weeks go by and you're winning, you're putting up points, you probably thought things were going pretty well. You made that trade with me. You got Mark Andrews. It kind of solidified things. He went from being kind of slow to having a big blow up there in the middle before he got hurt. So all pistons were firing. And then, he got hurt, and you had to make a trade for who's your current tight end here now?
Hey, actually,
Tucker Kraft. Okay, here we go.
Bauer, give us your breakdown of your boy Tucker Kraft. Tell us about him.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a dick move to play him against me. But
has he scored any points all year?
Yeah, he's been solid the last few weeks.
Okay, 8.4, 13, 8. Okay.
Yeah, he's a South Dakota kid. He's from Timberlake, South Dakota. It's literally in the middle of nowhere. Played at South Dakota State, freak athlete. And I told Laska when they drafted him, I was like, he's going to be a stud because he's like Dallas Goedert 2.0. And obviously, I think he had some growing pains early on. And then once Musgrave went down,
he's from this town?
Yep. He was a running back in high school, too.
What? He was a running back?
Yeah.
Dude,
he's west of the Missouri River?
Yep.
And now this guy from this pinpoint is on Laska's team against you in a fantasy football championship.
Yeah.
What street did he live on?
I couldn't tell. I don't know him all that well, but
I'm just kidding. That's wild.
So the funny thing about Kraft is that the Packers, they did the two tight end drafting. They took Musgrave in the second, and they took Kraft in the third. And throughout all training camp, they basically let Musgrave take like all the number one offense snaps. So like he got it all, and Kraft was in the background. Musgrave got a laceration in his kidney like 4 weeks ago, which I'm sure Sean, knows
God.
about.
Laceration in the kidney, dude. Try rupturing that bitch.
Yikes. Anyways, so he's out, and so they basically just put like Tucker Kraft right into his role, and everybody's like, "Oh wow, he's like a pretty decent player," and it's hilarious because, yeah, I mean, like Bauer's been telling me about this guy for like 3 years, and now I'm like, dude, he goes to the Packers, and now I could potentially play him. I might play Everett depending on if Musgrave comes back this week, but it's great to have him in my lineup right now. I put him in my lineup for this show.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, so enough about Laska. We're kind of tired of that. Bauer, to you, coming out of the draft, you kind of felt ho-hum about the team, and you thought you had potential, and you had some up and downs this year. Did you ever think you would make it this far, and why?
I mean, right out of the draft, no, but I didn't have a first or a third round pick, but I had made some trades with a bunch of fourth round picks. So I knew my team had the potential to just be like, a really solid team. And then I was looking for that kind of, if need be, if the team was doing well, to go make that home run trade. Now, I acquired Jonathan Taylor, and for a while there, he was looking like old Jonathan Taylor, like looking really good. And then he busted up his thumb, and that's what made me getting that first round bye super important.
Mm-hmm.
Because I knew like that's right when he was projected to like return. I was like, oh, just let me get that. So once I got that first round bye, I was like, all right, like my team's I've been winning games. I've been, scoring about 100 and, whatever points a week. Like team's pretty solid. Like I just need to get healthy because David Montgomery was hurt for a while. James Conner was on the II for a little bit. Like I had to kind of navigate some injuries there. And then obviously my team was Jalen Hurts, and then Mike Evans is probably one of the top 5 draft picks of the year. I think you'd put him up there with.
Dude, that's the best. Dude, that's the best draft pick.
I'd say Raheem Mostert deserves to be up there. I'd say
Sure.
Kyren Williams, who I had on my roster for like 10 minutes, was probably the best pickup of the year.
But you didn't draft him. Like you drafted Evans, and he was a stud, dude.
But he's been great. I got him in the 4th round. I thought that was crazy that a guy who literally gets 1,000 yards and is a huge red zone target fell to the 4th round. But
this is a Baker Mayfield effect, man.
Worked out well, and I solved the tight end position with Turd Ferguson, and then I just tight out of I kind of saw that Ertz had gotten hurt, and that the Cardinals had like the 2nd most targets of their tight end in the NFL. So I was like, all right, well that's when they had Dobbs, and I was like, all right, let's just pick him up and watch, and then he turned out to be pretty dang good, and I've definitely gotten some luck to go my way, but I think, like I said, I think my team's just solid. There's, Evans obviously is probably my highest ceiling player, but I think a bunch of my guys are just kind of they're going to get you 11, 12 points and force the other team to score a bunch.
The only thing I want to say about Evans, and this is a kind of a bummer. So I don't know how much you guys have been following this, but for years, Marshawn Lattimore has been like Mike Evans' kryptonite, where like literally shuts him down for like nothing. He's gotten him ejected from like 2 games. And
he's out.
He's out.
Yeah, Dan, I'm very well aware of Mike Evans.
I'm like, no, dude.
Yeah, I'm very well aware of it, but it's not like I'm benching him.
Well, no. I'm saying that Mike Evans is going to be the top dog.
Oh, because Lattimore's not in?
Yeah, that's what it's in favor of you. So yeah, that kind of segues into breaking down the matchup here, and might as well just start with the wide receivers. Mike Evans, Laska just mentioned, he has a pathway now to have a scary type of game there. And then Rashee Rice, we've talked about him for just a second, but he's been, that Chiefs game last week was just, I don't think I've ever watched Mahomes play as bad as he did last week, but he's kind of been their dude now. And you guys can probably chime in here as far as what Cincinnati's pass defense has looked like lately, but potential there, right?
Yeah, I mean, Rice has been Kansas City's highest targeted player, I think, in the last 5 weeks. And that includes Kelsey. He's averaging 10 targets a week.
Jeez.
10, 9, 12. Yeah, I mean, he's getting dished.
He gets a lot, and they use him in a variety of ways. They tried some screens with him. They throw it deep to him. Like he's a good player. Just Kansas City's offense has kind of been off tilt, I feel like, all year. They haven't looked like the Chiefs' offenses of years past.
Yeah, I agree. They're at home. That helps. And since I feel like Mahomes has like a vendetta against Cincinnati for losing to him that one year in the AFC Championship. So I feel like that team's going to come fired up. Hopefully for you, Bauer. Not hopefully for you, Laska.
Fair.
But yeah, I mean, I think so. Like I know when I was debating on who to start last week, maybe some people question the Rashee Rice start, but if you looked at his stats over the last like 5 weeks or 4 weeks compared to Devonta Smith, he was the better player, and Devonta Smith had some big weeks, but that was when Dallas Goedert was out. And as soon as Dallas Goedert came back, Devonta Smith kind of came back down to, still solid, but nothing splashy. I like my receivers. Said Evans obviously has that like home run, like mega game potential. I think he did it last year in the championship for Leon, maybe. And then Smith, I always like starting him when I have Jalen Hurts because you get that opportunity to stack. And, I think I have good lineup now. Then you look over at Lascas, and he's got, CeeDee Lamb, who, besides Tyreek Hill, has been just an absolute force, just
Number 2. Yep. Number 2 wide receiver.
and it's
Good game against Miami.
Worst game is what, 6.9 points? Like he's had
A long time ago. Yeah.
He's had 3 games of single digits. Like that's just
Look at after the bye, he hasn't been below 13. I mean, that's solid.
You could tell too, like honestly, with like McCarthy was trying to do, like they literally just went away from the run. They were like, all right, let's move CD around. And so like the way that I've been watching CD this year is really similar to like how he used Devontae and even Jordy before that when he was in Green Bay, where he's like, I'm not just gonna put him on the outside, like let him try and win. So last week against the Dolphins, what has it been? It's been Howard on one side and Ramsey on the other side. They haven't really like shadowed anybody. And they just played CD in the slot and he just dominated. Well, I mean, for X amount of quarters, but like they stopped going to that. But anyways, no, dude, I'm jacked about CD because he plays Detroit, which has got a really good run defense and a really shit pass defense. So that is my best favorable matchup when I look at my squad.
Yeah, that's A+ for you. And I think, what is that, Saturday?
Yeah,
Saturday
night.
Saturday night. So that'll be a primetime game, fun to watch for all of us.
And that's got some big fantasy.
You got Gibbs there too.
We got
Montgomery.
Gibbs and Montgomery, and then we got CeeDee Lamb. And if I feel like getting nutty, maybe I'll throw Turd Ferguson in there, and we'll just have a little show on Saturday night.
He kind of quieted down, didn't he, a little bit?
Well, he's just not explosive. So he's a guy that needs to be like high volume of catches to have big weeks.
Yeah, I guess his big weeks are all touchdown weeks.
Yeah. So it's just, he's, like I said, if you're looking for just a solid, as Blake described him, he's a mid tight end. It's probably the perfect description for Turd Ferguson, but he served me well. And I don't know. I mean, I'm still debating that start just because Detroit and Dallas, I have a feeling, could be a shootout. And sometimes you like to have players in those games. But
I would trade you I would trade you any of my 4 tight ends on my roster for one of those 2 guys.
Damn right you would.
So Alaska, without Keenan Allen, you really only have 2 receivers on the squad. Obviously, one being CD is great, and then Ridley, he's a little scary to play, but he gets Carolina. Is Trevor Lawrence? He's got like 19 different injuries: concussion, shoulder, ankle, hip. His testicle is large. No, that's Bauer actually, but there's concern there, but he is playing Carolina. You probably focused in on that game when the Packers almost lost to them. How did their pass D look? Does he have a pathway here to have a decent game?
So the most obnoxious thing about the Carolina Panthers is that you beat them through the ground because their offense is so shitty. So usually the quarterbacks and the wide receivers don't do anything. But what happened was the Packers defense still employs Joe Barry as their defensive coordinator, and their defense is so bad that like before they gave up Bryce Young's best game of his career, the NFC's #1 offensive player back-to-back weeks. So like it was really weird to watch the Packers like play that game because it was a shootout, and I'm like, it shouldn't have been a shootout. The other thing is that ETN has been running like shit. So, like,
yeah,
maybe I do get a little bit, but like, dude, CJ Beathard, I mean, I don't know.
I think Lawrence plays.
He's played through everything, but it's crazy.
Yes.
And it also worries you. Like, is it in his throwing shoulder? I have no idea.
Yeah, I think it is, but I think he plays. I mean, if he played after that high ankle sprain, like I don't think his shoulder's going to keep him out when they're fighting for a playoff spot.
Sure.
Yeah, Ridley's one of those guys where it's like,
dude, he's total boom bust, man.
He's kind of like a Gabe Davis, where it's just like he can boom like last week, even after negative points and a half, like we did in the half, but second half. But he can also, leave you hanging. But I think your lineup is deep enough where you have enough guys there that are consistent that you can afford to take that home run swing there.
Fair.
Yeah. So that's your receivers. I mean, Keenan Allen's not playing. I don't think. They got to mark this questionable.
He's got a heel thing. They've got nothing to play for. They've got all these guys out. Dude, honestly, well, I'm not going to get in with you guys, but like, that'd be a fuck all if Keenan Allen was active.
All of a sudden active, and you have to make the decision, right?
Like I was talking with Jenny last week because I have like I said, since I don't have superstars up and down my lineup, and much solid guys, like the start-sit decisions are freaking tough. Sometimes it's nice when you just like your starting lineup is just set and you don't really have any options off the bench because it's like, all right, I just go with what I go with and whatever happens, happens.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it sucks for Keenan Allen, sucks for your team if he's out. I agree. I'd be surprised if he played since they have nothing to play for, and he's an older receiver.
Dude, he's the number 3 wide receiver in like this season. Like he has been balling.
Yeah, he's averaging 17.3 points. I mean, just studly there.
He's been amazing.
Then we move up to quarterback is an interesting match up here.
Yeah, 4 versus 2, man. That's exciting. Like firepower at that position. I don't know what time are these games at, the quarterbacks.
I think the Eagles are at noon, and then I want to say Baltimore, Miami's got to be an afternoon game because that might even be because that's kind of like the game of the week because I think that's for whoever wins takes over the top seed in the AFC.
Which one is this one? No,
that's a noon game as well.
It's a noon game as well.
Wow, noon is quite the slate, man.
So I heard the stat this like literally earlier today and it blew us. Like there's no Monday night game and then there's 10 noon games. There's only 3 afternoon games.
And then Packers Vikings at night. Yep, that's it.
Which where Tucker Kraft goes for like 3 touchdowns and just
really so you'll have Tucker Kraft no matter what's happening in our matchup. If you're winning or losing,
that'll be the last guy to go.
And it's only one. Other than that, Laska has Najee Harris in the afternoon session. I have the Broncos defense and Rashee Rice in the afternoon. So most of our matchup will be done by 3:00. So that's kind of crazy. Obviously, I'm hoping I got a big old lead going into the afternoon, and then an even bigger lead, and then watch Tucker Kraft have like a freaking Amari Cooper game to rob me.
He's gonna score a touchdown.
I think looking at the matchup, ESPN obviously gives you the check marks. I always think it's weird on their projections because you see like a guy's average, and then they'll project him to be like way below that average, or it's just how they come up with that is funny. But I think quarterbacks are kind of a wash. I think I like Lamar's matchup more just because I think that could be a higher scoring game. And, that's what you want in fantasy. You want high scoring games. And
so Lamar's been really goofy because he's been better in tougher matchups, which is like what you don't think about with quarterbacks. But like when they don't have a tough matchup, they just hand the ball off or the defense does stuff.
Yeah.
This sounds silly. Jalen Hurts could easily go for like 30 because they're playing Arizona and they suck. But in my head, I'm like, hopefully they just like run Swift a bunch, go up, and then they don't have to do anything.
Well, and dude, the funniest thing about Jalen Hurts this whole year, I can't tell you how many times Eagles players have gotten tackled at the 1-yard line.
Brother, he's got 15 touchdowns. He's got 15 touchdowns at the 1-yard line.
It is insane how many times DeAndre Swift could be having like a superstar year if he can get 1 extra yard like each game. Because I tell you, he gets tackled at the 1 so many times, and then I'm just sitting there, I'm like, heck yeah, like let's go, Jared.
Guaranteed point.
But dude, he only has 5 passing touchdowns the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, but he's got 8 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, so it's
so dumb.
Which is
that's ridiculous.
I liked what I saw like last week, but I think that quarterback matchup at the end of it, though, is kind of a wash. Like, it could very easily go one way or the other, but I think both guys are kind of those high floor, high seat. Like, they both should be right around 20. If one of them gets into that 30 to 40 range, that'd be huge for whoever gets it.
Sure.
Running backs, I mean, Gibbs and Montgomery. I still don't know what happened to Montgomery against the Vikings. He just disappeared for a quarter and a half.
They said it was like a head thing, when he never went into concussion protocol,
Yeah,
and then he came back and played.
Came back
So
into
he
the
was
game
really
randomly for a third down, during the third quarter, and then he sat out for another quarter. Then he came back in to try to finish the game off, and it was the weirdest thing because he was running decently well. Obviously, Gibbs is much more explosive. But and maybe the Detroit just liked that more, but that's going to be an interesting one. Can Montgomery steal the goal line carries, or has Gibbs kind of asserted himself since he's very, very good?
he is ridiculous.
Yeah, we kind of mentioned this earlier in the year, but it's very reminiscent of the Saints when they had Kamara and Ingram that first.
100%, dude. 100%.
Yeah, I think I heard since week 5 or whatever, and he had 2 games he didn't play, but Gibbs the running back 3 on the year.
Yeah,
but he's been studly since. I mean, look at week 7. He's had couple Green Bay, New Orleans, couple duds, everything else just great.
Last guy, I think it was week 6 when we made the trade, and I was trying to maybe.
You asked about Gibbs.
Gibbs, and you're like, dude, I think he will turn it around, and that's what I thought too. And then boom, now he's off limits. But yeah, he's been super solid. He just looks really good when he plays football, which is nice.
Yeah.
Gibbs, Kamara versus Taylor, Montgomery is the top 2. I mean, that's fun.
Yeah, if Taylor can find his form again, because like I said, he was starting to flash it, and then he got injured again. You look at that, it was 19, 10, 15, 14, 21, and then he got hurt. And he was very inefficient last week. Atlanta's rush defense is pretty good, but I watched Vegas' defense, dude. They're freaking pretty dang good.
They're good right now.
Wait, did you guys hear what Antonio Pierce said when they asked him about his head coaching stuff?
No.
He goes, they asked him what his resume needs to be for Mark Davis. And he goes, my resume is on the grass.
I heard that, yep.
That's
badass.
That dude is fucking awesome.
Yeah, and then but back to the matchup, and then kind of the Saquon, he's kind of he's so good, he's so talented, but he's just surrounded by a poop team.
And dude, he's got such bad. Dude, so this is over the last 6 weeks. The Rams are the number 1 defense against running backs, or the number 1 points allowed. I heard the stat today. I think points over expectation was -10 or something. It's bad.
Yeah,
dude.
You must have been listening to the Ballers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you saw that last week with Kamara. They played the Rams, and he sure didn't do too much. And yeah, they are playing lights out right now against the run. I mean, that's the thing with the Giants. I mean, he is their offense, so you can't sit him, because if they randomly get a turnover or whatever, he's going to score a touchdown. But that is a scary matchup for you.
He's just he's a huge volume guy, which is, it's all you can really ask for out of a running back, no matter what their talent level is. If they're a high volume guy, it's good to have. It's why Chuba Hubbard I started him last week, and he's on the bench right now, but he literally gets so many touches. Just kind of.
God.
Yeah, but dude, the Packers defense is a sin. When you made that play, I was like, that's the best play to make.
And he honestly had kind of a dud of a game against their defense, but Barkley's high volume. He's super explosive. He's still probably the most talented all around running back in the league, and eventually the Giants are going to figure that out. We hope. And then you get down to Najee and Connor.
You're still playing this bum Najee? Man, 13 points for you.
You mentioned it on the pod earlier when Tolugan initially like sent me the trade offer for Andrews and Najee, I was like, dude, I do not want Najee on my team. Like, he's
Right.
terrible. I don't want this guy on my squad.
That was really the motivating factor for me as well. Like,
Oh,
I don't want to have to make that start sit decision because I don't even want to fucking look at his name.
And then it was so funny
bad.
because last week going into his matchup because Keenan was officially ruled out,
Out again.
and last guy had to start Najee, and I just texted him, I was like, "Oh man, I bet you feel like such a dirty man." Najee, and then last text me just died. He goes, "Dude, I have my AirPods on, and Siri like reads the text message."
I bet you feel like a turd for starting. Yeah, oh my god, that's hilarious.
I'm frying up eggs and bacon, and I like hear this thing in my ear, and it's this like robot chick. Tell me how dirty I am as a man for starting Najee Harris.
Dude, that's hilarious.
Damn it, I just need to start texting Dan dirty things all the time so he just gets to hear Siri whisper it into his ear.
So bad.
Yeah,
but as crazy as it is, he plays Seattle, who can give it up a little bit. So that's not a super negative matchup there. And then you got James Conner on the other side. Bow, he just keeps getting it done.
Dude, well, he's had like bad matchups the last few weeks,
and he's killed it.
And he's killed it. And it's like, if he can get that receiving work, if he can get 5 receptions, I don't even like. That's great. And so it's like, he was one of my draft picks, one of my first guys that I took there in the 4th or 5th round. I'm just riding it out with him.
And that Philly defense isn't something to be super afraid of nowadays. They've been a little leaky.
They've been beatable on the ground, and we'll see. I think it should be a good matchup. I think ESPN probably has it right that Laska should be the favorite. Obviously, I think I got some good matchups, and he might not have the greatest matchups, but he's also just got a powerhouse team. They've been a powerhouse since the draft. They were number 1 or number 2 in the power rankings every single week. Won the regular season title, handled their business last week. It's going to take a lot, but hoping it'll be I just want it to be like an epic finish, Like, I don't want it to be a dud one way or the other. I want it to come down to Tucker Kraft having to do something on Sunday night, so the whole league's just watching. But we're all going to be watching the Vikings anyways. But anyway.
I feel bad because honestly, brother, if Luke Musgrave is playing, I might not even be playing Tucker Kraft. But
then if you don't play him, then it's going to come down to that Sunday afternoon matchup with Rashee Rice and whoever you have going.
It shouldn't be discounted to talk about the Browns defense. They're playing the Jets this week, who are starting Simeon.
Yep.
Is it? It was not very good, and the Browns defense is pretty good. Laska, a big powerhouse of your team was the Cowboys defense for a while there, but obviously with the way they've been playing lately, you're not going to play them against Detroit. But man, when did you add them? Like, have you had 2 defenses the whole year? October 18th, $11.
Yeah, I looked at it early, and it wasn't like looking at playoff schedule. It was just looking at I knew Dallas down the stretch wasn't going to have good stuff, and then I grabbed the Browns team, and I kind of like looked at the weeks like alternating, and it sucked because it really limited like what I could do on my bench though.
Dude,
right.
The funny thing was I had the Jets defense and I dropped them this week. The Browns 2 weeks ago, that's why one of the reasons why I picked up the Jets because I saw their match. Oh, they got Washington and they got the Browns. Like, this is great. And then elite Joe Flacco comes.
Dude, Joe Flacco. Hey, can we talk about that for a second?
And I just don't want to. I don't want to. The Jets defense
could have 300 yards last week.
Yeah, the Jets could have a good week, but I hate Thursday night matchups.
No,
they never treat me right. And the Browns have something to play for, and the Jets don't.
Right.
So I was like, yeah. And the Jets defense is very good. Even last week when they gave like 28 points, they had like 8 points. Like they just create turnovers, but I don't know. So I went with the Broncos. They get the Chargers at home. They still
I got them going. I got them going to my my third place game.
yeah,
the
they
other one,
still have something to play for, even though they're benching Russ.
That's
And
weird.
So
That was weird.
It's what it is. It should be fun, though. I'm excited. I'm just glad to be in a championship. I've been in the semifinals so often. I've never won that game.
It's about time, man. It's about time.
I think I'm tied for the second most playoff appearances, and I don't even have one championship game appearance.
This is status quo for Alaska, though. You've probably been in the championship. What? I mean, this is our 9th season in the Empire Pot.
Been in there.
And you probably at least 4, probably maybe 5. This will be maybe be your 5th.
Yeah, it's 4 or 5 appearances because I know he had that run there where he went like 2-2-1 or 2-1-2 or something crazy like that.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, pretty good stuff. But so next year, one of the two of you will have a chance to attack that Empire Pot, which will be at officially as a 10th year, $1,200. So pretty cool. Sponsored by Tins. Look at that.
Tins. Sponsored
by Tins, but playing at Hazeltine.
But yeah, either way, draft is
sandwiches or playing at a really tough golf course.
Dan, even if you get second place, you got to get them to bring sandwiches to the draft.
I'll figure something out. I'll talk to the boys.
And if I take second place, well, I'll just get us Ryder Cup tickets in 2028. For 2029 now, thanks COVID.
So Bauer, you had a couple reminders you wanted to throw out there.
Yeah. Well, first of all, the losers bracket is not completely over. Lostness has a 30-point lead in AP. Who I think has like 20 points on Tolugan, so it'd take a miracle for Tolugan to catch him, but 30 points isn't unheard of. And then that from Tolugan downward, there's like 4 guys. They're all within like 25, 30 points of each other, so that could scramble some things, especially for Kelly Dog, who is going to have 2 first-round picks, so he wants Mortel to score like 250 points this week. Hanrahan, the only person you can catch is Mortel, so you're probably going to be picking 8th or 7th. Mortel has I think he's like 50 points back at Broik. But yeah, and the other reminders are next year's draft already set. Saturday, I believe it is August 24th, which is a Saturday. It's the weekend before Labor Day because we got too many complaints about drafting on a holiday weekend from the Wags.
So they do, man. They
Saturday, August 24th. Put it in your calendars now.
Please.
It'll be in Rochester, the Twin Cities, so you can plan on that. You don't have to worry about it. Oh, are we going to go to Florida? No, sorry, Jenny, we're not going to Florida. And no, we're not going to California, Leon. Plus, I've been an Empire Pot winner.
No, we couldn't do that.
So yeah, and then buying next year is going to be at least $150. I'm always open to raising it even more, but want to do some more weekly payouts, some maybe like position of the year, best draft pick, like other things like that, just to give people more options to win some money. I think we can keep the pot and the Empire Pot stuff the same, but just add more money to make it so there's more. You can go win a little bit of money here and there.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been a great season, boys. Obviously, happy to be on this final podcast. Even though I was always going to be on it. But
I'm happy to be on this podcast.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be with 3 people because we were going to have the 2 finalists on no matter what, and I'm happy that I happen to be one of those finalists for the first time ever. And hopefully, Alaska, I love you, and maybe we'll get together on Sunday. I don't know. I got to take a look at the calendar.
You let me know. Nally's working this weekend, so I'm locked at home with the kids. So you can come over and you can come over.
We can just
be here.
We can just.
He's got a hell of a setup.
We can just 8x8 and watch the game via. Because I can't come down to Rochester.
That's fair, brother.
But yeah, it should be a good week. I hope it's an epic shootout. It makes it a lot more fun when both teams are just going off and there's some roller coaster of emotions, and To everyone else, good luck in the losers bracket. Thanks for tuning into these. Thanks for being active in the league, Ryan Kelly. And
Hi.
yeah, let's.
No, seriously, like this is we not to get emotional, but it's fucking really cool what we do here. We're going on year 10. Start of next year is year 10 of this Empire Pot. And every year I feel like just keeps getting better and better as we get more adapt to the league and trade values and things like that. Like this league is friggin' badass, dude. Super pumped about it. Two great guys in the championship. Laska, no offense, but I would love for my boy Sean to get his first championship. If you win, I guess that's fine, whatever. But I'll be rooting for Bao. We should put out a poll.
I'm sure everybody will be, brother.
We'll put out a little.
I took down the Empire, like I killed it, and now I'm the next guy to be slayed down. So it's all right.
I don't know. There's gonna be plenty of people that are rooting for you just because you did take down the Empire.
Yeah, that was a service that you did for us all. So thank you, Dan.
And then there's some Sydney apologists out there that are rooting for me.
Yep. It's gonna be great. All right, Laska, any final words?
I'm just wondering how many human beings are actually going to listen to an hour and 31 minutes of this podcast.
Maybe 6. Yeah.
Just play it on 1.25 speed and you're good to go.
Here's something that's going to be great, boys, though, is when we're 40, 50, 60, we're going to have all these videos and we're going to get together and we'll be able to hang out, have a couple of cocktails and rewatch old podcasts and just laugh and laugh. It's going to be great. So
everyone put a handle of pucker in your hand.
Yeah.
Forward, you drink. Oh.
Yeah. It's going to be good times. So it's for now and it's for later. So it's all good, man.
That's right. Hey, I love you boys.
Yep. Good luck to you too.
Thanks,
Good luck, guys.